I was in a rookie development program about financial literacy, and they had an older player come in the room. He screamed at us, "Max out your 401k, max out." He said it like 10 times in a row, and it like stuck with me because in the NFL, the 401k match program is ridiculous.
What is it? I have to know.
It is like, it's like...
Welcome into Impactful Conversations, stories and lessons for financial advisors. I'm your host, Dave Edgecombe. Joining me today, we've got a good one. We've got TJ Yates. He's the current passing game coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, also a former UNC great. And joining us as well, Caleb Anthony, SVP of Partnership here at the Impact Partnership. But I'm really excited because I have 2/3 of what I'm being told was a really strong backfield at Pope High School. Is that right? Do I have that right, guys?
That would be, I think, the middle school team. I don't know if we made it all to high school together. Caleb stopped and did wrestling, so he kind of quit on me. But we go back a long way.
Priorities were out of whack. He
Yes.
didn't have the team's best interest in mind. Is that right? Am I hearing that right?
That's an accurate statement. Yep.
Well, TJ, I'm glad that we got you here. This is going to be sort of an unconventional conversation in the sense that it's not necessarily, you're not a financial advisor, obviously, but
Not yet.
You're financially adjacent because you've lived a different lifestyle than most people, being a professional quarterback and now being a professional football coach. Comes with its own kind of unique challenges. And so I think I want to explore that a little bit and kind of dive into that. But first, I want to talk football X's and O's because I love football and I'm very curious. So you're the current passing game coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's obviously an offensive coordinator. There's obviously a quarterback's coach.
Yep.
Are NFL offenses that advanced at this point that they need to be compartmentalized to that degree to have those kind of roles broken up?
Yeah, I think so. The way the game's really evolved over the past 10 to 12 years, when I first started coaching, we only had 5 offensive coaches. Wow. And now the way the game has gone with data, with analytics, just how much the game is growing at an exponential rate from year to year. There's obviously more money in the organizations. They can hire more people, create new positions. Because we were talking about just before this, the passing game coordinator role really wasn't even a thing until about 5 years ago.
Yeah, it feels relatively recent.
Yeah, so it's it's kind of a bridge between the coordinator and the quarterback's coach, and a couple different things. I kind of float into different rooms, kind of help with all the different positions. The running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, all those different things, but. The main focus is really just helping out our offensive coordinator and getting everything organized and structured how we want it, being in the quarterback room, leading those meetings and helping our quarterback coach with that. It's got a lot of different avenues, but it's kind of a higher role that you kind of work your way up to kind of after quarterback coach, which what I was for the Falcons a few years ago. But, just getting ready for a new adventure in Tampa.
Is it a grind? I mean, climbing that coaching ladder? I mean, I was looking at your coaching resume before we got started today, and I mean, there's a couple of roles where you look at it and you're like, boy, I bet that's a long day.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. My first job ever coaching was with the Houston Texans. I was a quality control offensive assistant, and I was also the offensive line assistant, believe it or not. The coach at the time, Bill O'Brien, when I first interviewed, I was like just expecting I just had got done playing for Coach Bill O'Brien. And, naturally I was like, oh, I'm just going to go in the quarterback room and help out there. And he was like, you're going in the offensive line room. And I was kind of brought it back. And he was like, if you ever want to be an effective coach in the NFL, you got to learn the game from inside out. And I'm not going to lie, I did not really enjoy that year. Because not only did I do that, I had to do a million things. Like I said before, we only had 5 offensive coaches. So I was stretched about as thin as you could be, doing breakdowns, doing this, doing that. You kind of have about 7 hats on at that point, and I did not enjoy it. But you learn so much from those experiences as far as time management, multitasking. I became a multitasking wizard. There wasn't a time in the day that I wasn't doing a different task or getting ahead, because at that point, when you're in that role, when you're breaking down the next week's opponent, you got to be 2-3 weeks ahead, breaking down games, getting ready for these opponents. And, I learned a lot. But that's kind of where every coach really in the NFL you have to start out in the bottom rung and work your way up. There's only a few instances in the league where you really cut corners, because so many guys have been in the league for that long and they've all done it from the very bottom. So you definitely got to earn your stripes.
Do you think it's a matter of perspective? I mean, since you played behind the offensive line, all of a sudden you're in that room and you're saying, well, hey, think about from this perspective and kind of approaching it that way?
Yeah, there's definitely some things that I help them realize from my perspective and vice versa. Like when you learn the game from inside out, when you're sitting there talking about offensive line technique, and that couldn't be more foreign to a former quarterback. So there's a bunch of things I learned from them. They learn things from me. And like I said, if you want to be an effective coach in the NFL, you got to learn the game from inside out.
So we're big on having advisors look at game tape, whether it's their seminars or whatever they're doing in front of people and it's recorded, going back and watching it back and improving upon that.
Absolutely.
I'm curious from what you guys do, is it more in the rearview mirror or is it more looking ahead? Is it more planning for what's next?
It's a little bit of both. When you're in front of the players and you're installing plays and teaching them about defenses and doing all those things, I've done the exact same thing. My head coach in Atlanta the last couple of years, Raheem Morris, when I had to do installs for the offense my first year, he videotaped it and he made me go back and watch it. And you go back and look at it, your hand gestures, your all the different things you want to work on. You know, there's two different things. You can listen to it, like completely not watch it and just listen to it and see how you sound. And then you turn off the mute and then you actually watch it and see what you're doing in front of the guys. You can learn a lot from reviewing the film of yourself teaching.
Has that been a learning process in terms of leading? Because I would imagine leading as a player versus leading as a coach are two completely different mindsets.
Completely different things. Because when you're leading as a player, it's about being with the guys and relating to them and going through the same struggles as they go through and doing it together. And, you know, that it's very separate from the coaching side because it's not always you're always with the coaches, always. It's kind of like, hey, man, we're players. We got to take this team over. We got to do these certain things. And then when you go to the coaching side, it's a little bit more of like, I don't know, a father figure type of role.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to do hard coaching. You got to tell them the things that they don't want to hear, and you can't always be their friend. There's a lot of coaches out there that are just trying to be buddies with the players, and it's cool from a relationship standpoint. But when you got to go tell them something harsh and tell them something like, "Hey, dude, you're doing this wrong, and you got to change," sometimes you don't want to hear that from your friend, and it's got to be from more like a father figure type of role. And honestly, being a father helped me be a better coach from that aspect.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I got a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 4-year-old, and my 9-year-old is getting to the point where you got to have some of these tough conversations, whether it's about sports, about training, about school, and you kind of hear this a lot. It's like you don't really get to a certain point where you don't really care how they feel because you know it's going to be good for them in the long run, and they might not realize that right now. But you got to tell them these things. And same thing with the players. Like most of these players that you coach, they're 21, 22. They're young kids. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you. And you might not realize it now. You might not realize it this year. Down the road, when you realize it, you're going to be like, that's what he was talking about. I get it. And that's the kind of the role you got to take on as a coach and as a father. It's got some some parallels with it.
I know when we talked last week, kind of setting up this, you mentioned the changing dynamic, and you just kind of hinted at that you're coaching 21, 22, 23-year-old. I mean, I don't want to call them kids because they'll whoop my butt, but, like they're young in terms of the maturity scale, but you also have in that same room a 35-year-old guy who is a completely different animal in that landscape from a maturity standpoint. So how have you kind of curbed your messaging to talk to both parties in the room simultaneously?
I think it depends on what position you're coaching, because I've coached offensive line for a brief stint. I coached running backs. I've coached wide receivers for almost 3 years, coached quarterbacks. I've had the whole broad spectrum pass game coordinator, and you got to learn the different people and how they react and how they relate. Like if you're coaching offensive line, they're a little tougher, they're a little meaner, they can take harsh coaching. Now, I love receivers. I love them to death. But when you're talking to these guys, they're sensitive. They are a little bit, they're not as tough as offensive linemen or linebackers or whatever. And you got to kind of talk to them different. And it also depends on the individual relationship. We kind of talked about that. We talked about on the phone. It's like, learning about your players and the communication and the trust level that you have to be able to coach these guys hard, or knowing the specific type of person you're coaching. Like I can yell at that guy in front of everybody and he'll be fine. Now, if I yell at that guy in front of everybody, he might shut down for 2 days. So learning the individual and creating the relationships with those guys I think is paramount to coaching, because you got to get your messaging across in the best way possible. Like at the end of the day, you're a teacher. And if you're not getting the information that they need to them in the correct way, you're not really coaching them well.
What's a hard lesson that you've had to deliver? Can you think of something off the top of your head that says, "Boy, that was a tough one in the moment to deliver, but I felt good about it afterwards"?
It'd probably be something. I've coached Drake London for a couple of years now, almost 3 years as a wide receiver coach, kind of part-time and full-time. And he is one of those guys where he, wears his emotions on his sleeves, and game time comes around, that dude turns into a different human being. And it's completely different from the week. You coach him different during the week, then comes game time. It took me, about a year and a half before on game day, I had to look him straight in the eye and tell him to shut the F up. And he was like, at the moment I was like, I don't know if I should say this, but he looked at me, he kind of walked away, and then it was all good after that. And sometimes you just got to learn the player, learn the person. And at that point we had a good enough relationship where kind of what I was alluding to is like, I don't care what he thought about me in that moment. I knew what I was going to say to him, needed to lock him back in, and it was going to be good for him in the long run. When you're first learning a player or a person that you're getting a relationship with, you're kind of tiptoeing into it, and you don't want to tell them certain things that might piss them off because that could deter the relationship in a different way. But once you get to learn and know a guy, know how he reacts to it, and at that point, I didn't really care what he was going to say back to me. I just knew that he needed to hear what he needed to hear.
Yeah. Does that take practice? How do you practice for that sort of thing?
It's got to be experience, just doing it and trying it on one guy, didn't work on that guy. I'm not going to do that again. It's about trial and error and learning. And I've been coaching now for, this would be my 9th year, something like that. Mm-hmm. Been doing it a long time. Then when I first started doing it, you kind of, you use the things you had as a player, the leadership that we talked about when you're a player, and you kind of start creating those avenues that way. But then you start growing, you start getting older, you start realizing things like I was talking about, like becoming a father really helps out coaching. It's something that I kind of realized the last couple of years, but it's got some of the same aspects.
Can you give me your TJ Yates 3 tent poles for being a leader? I mean, obviously you can draw from your playing days, but also your coaching days. But what are the 3 things that, if there are 3 characteristics, I mean, here at Impact, we're big on positivity, we're big on culture and everything that entails. And I'm curious what you've kind of picked up along the way from your various mentors and stints.
Yeah, I would say I think the most important thing is being genuine, because people can smell BS from a mile away. If you are one way, like in the meeting room, you're talking this, and all of a sudden you go out in the football field and you're like yelling, screaming, doing all these things, they're like, who's this guy?
Yeah. So
being genuine and being yourself and having those things come true from your heart like that, because people can smell BS. Communication is obviously a big pillar of that, of just being able to talk and communicate, and just all the different aspects that come out in that. And then trust, I would say, is the last thing. You have to gain these guys' trust. They got to know that you trust them, and vice versa. The old coaching adages, they're not going to care what you have to say unless they know that you care. And that part comes huge. Like, unless you tell these guys that, hey, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm coaching you guys is in your best interest, and everything that I'm trying to do is to help you become a better player and a better person and all these things. Until they don't understand that, they're never going to hear any coaching point that you ever give them about actually football. So those would kind of be the things I would think up off the top of the head.
Well, I mean, we use that mantra with our advisors. Is I always mix it up because I always try to say it too fast, but they don't know. They don't care that you know until they know that you care.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's being that authentic self, and we tell advisors, hey, no 2 retirements are the same, or they tell us no 2 retirements are the same, and all that jazz.
For sure.
It sounds like no 2 players are the same, and you have to coach each one of them kind of their own specific way.
Absolutely.
You mentioned youth sports. You mentioned being a father.
Yeah.
I am also a father, and I went to youth sports immediately, and I want to know just what you think about the landscape of youth sports, because you got a 9-year-old. They're kind of starting to immerse themselves into the more competitive landscape. I know Caleb himself is a father, and he's got some boys that are playing some competitive baseball. I want to know what your 2 cents are on what the landscape is for youth sports right now.
It's insane, first of all. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. The type of individual training and the individual sports that are happening right now, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, you name the sport. I mean, you got personal trainers for everything. You got these kids starting at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, starting on this individual specialized training methods now. And it's a little wild because how big all sports have become, especially football. But it's only growing the game. the level of talent that you see now on TV and high school and college, and obviously the professional level is, 10x from 50 years ago. So the level of play is just becoming unbelievable. It's because these kids are starting in these specialized training early on, and year-round baseball and year-round football, basketball, whatever it is. And I think it's part of, like, if you have a kid in a certain sport, you want to make sure that he reaches his highest potential in that. And now you feel this pressure nowadays. It's like, well, if my son isn't doing specialized training 5 days a week, he's falling behind the 8 ball. And so I got to get him doing this. I got to get him doing that. So there's a lot of pressure that's involved with it. You worry a little bit about the kids at some point, that they start feeling that pressure and they don't want to, let you down because you're spending all this money and all this time on their training and all that stuff, when they actually become in tune of what you're actually providing for them. This guy's, baseball coach central and all these AAU tournaments and all these different tournaments year round, and the money that's spent. And I was messing around with my wife the other day. We saw something on Instagram. It was like, you're showing up to the game in a car payment and you're swinging a mortgage. You better not let strike three, go without swinging or something like that. So it's like, it's like, you better get that bat off your back if you're swinging a $500 bat. But it's crazy. And it's a little wild that, some people are taking advantage of it in certain ways. The NIL, we talked about that on the phone. The NIL these days is nuts. But for the overall global perspective of sport, it's blowing up. And I was a big fan of sports. I think that part's cool.
Well, I'm talking to a couple. Go ahead, Caleb.
I think he was, alluding to it a little bit. I think it boils down to the parents, right? You've got all this specialized training. You've got all these avenues to keep your son or daughter as busy as you want to keep them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Focused on their either individual sport or athletics as a whole. And so at the end of the day, I think it's the parents' job to really make sure that they monitor and have that, dialed in relationship with their child to know if they're pushing too hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
To keep them, because the last thing you want to do is push the child away from the love of the game.
Yeah,
right?
I would think burnout would become the big issue.
100%.
If they're not enjoying going to practice, if they're not enjoying going out and competing, then obviously you probably need to reassess what you're doing, right? So I think it's individualized, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I've got a couple of multi-sport athletes in front of me right here. Is that still do you still believe that that's an important part of developing a good athlete overall?
100%.
100%.
Yeah, there's, I think, I don't know what the percentage is, but I think it was last year. I think the 70% of the guys drafted in the NFL draft last year were multi-sport athletes in high school.
Yeah.
So the individual training is really good for a certain aspect, but just all the different aspects that come with being a full athlete, all the different movement patterns, all the different things that goes into it. You can't get all those things by just working on being a shortstop, right, or just working on being a quarterback or, a point guard, whatever it is. You have to get all the different movement patterns because there's such a development stage that happens from these kids in their adolescent ages. And if you're not getting that full development, you can't really replicate that at a later date. But they say, Twitter folk and TikTok people, they say, like, the actual, skill development of taking grounders or a jump shot or throwing a football, you can really hone in on that later in life, later in their adolescence and stuff. So 100%. It's more about them creating the best athlete at a younger age and then working on the skill development a little bit later.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think from the mental aspect too, it's, there is so much pressure, right? At a young age, starting at a much younger age than I think that even we were used to. But now it's like, if you've got them going, full blown, 4 months out of the year, playing baseball or whatever it is, even if it's a year round commitment or team, like all of my children play at least 2 sports, but 2 of them play 3 sports: baseball, football, and basketball. And I think having the different seasons actually, it brings them back to the other sport, right? So baseball is kind of their focus sport, right? That's what they really love. That's what they're passionate about. But they love basketball. They love football. Basketball is more of like a filler sport, right? Just to keep them busy in the wintertime, right? They love it. It's so much fun. There's no pressure, right? They don't play at a super competitive level. And it kind of just, distracts them from the pressure of baseball to an extent, right? And they come back to it. They're fired up. They're ready for spring season or fall season, whatever it is. And again, obviously, it's developing other aspects, other muscles, other mental aspects of the game that they're not getting otherwise with whatever particular sport they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm coaching my son now in 7-year-old baseball, and I'm thinking to myself, when I'm coaching these other kids, like, oh, you're not throwing right, your form's all wrong. Mm-hmm. And I had kind of an epiphany when we had a coach's clinic, and the guy that was leading it said, at this age, you could correct them all the time about things that they're doing wrong. But if they're hitting the ball, you want to build in confidence now.
Absolutely.
You want to start getting that. Hey, you can fix that stuff later down the road when they're 9. Right, you're not going to fix it when they're 7 necessarily. But if they don't like baseball because they can't hit it, they're not going to make it to 9. So they're not going to still be playing baseball at 9.
For sure.
You mentioned NIL. I want your recruiting story. Give it to me right now.
My recruiting story.
Truck, the bags of money. There's a suitcase full of money somewhere. It's Carolina Blue, right?
If you were looking for a that type of recruiting story, do not look this way. This is the total opposite. So
you got more recruited in basketball than
I was a basketball recruit. So I'm from Indiana, Hoosier State, whole family's big basketball fans. Football was just like Caleb was saying, like my passion was basketball growing up.
Flipped. It was,
and I just kind of played football just to play football, just because I was good at it. So going through high school, for the main part, I was really big AAU basketball player. Played on the summer circuits, all that stuff. Had a bunch of offers from kind of mid-level D1 programs in basketball, and then so our offense in high school was basically like an option offense, like triple option. You're reading the 3 technique, you're pitching off the defensive end, like all this stuff. Not exactly suited for my skill set.
No.
No. So exactly. Okay. So my junior year in high school, exactly. So my junior year in high school, I didn't play football. I quit.
Which
football.
Is wild.
I quit the football team because I wanted to focus on basketball. I thought that's where my future was going to be. I didn't want to run the triple option and get my butt whooped every single day. Just like it was. Well, it didn't become fun to me anymore.
Well, and dislocate your shoulder and not be able to play basketball.
Exactly. Right. So I went throughout, that whole junior year just focusing on basketball, no other sports. Like we talked about, became individualized and specialized in one thing. It went well, and I got some D1 offers and stuff. And then our senior year, we got a new football coach that brought in a whole new spread offense, chuck it around, do all that stuff. And honestly, I was going out my senior year to play football just to go back out with my friends and just play ball and just do what I've done my whole life with all of my buddies. And
DDRT.
Do the right thing.
Coach Swank.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So then my senior year, I think it was, I don't know, my 3rd or 4th game, whatever it was. I had a really good game, and
really good game.
It was a good game. It was a good game. Let's leave it at that.
Really good game.
Just leave it at that. And then there was a linebackers coach from UNC scouting 2 linebackers on the other team, and he saw me. And then I think he came into head coach's office, I think that Monday or that Tuesday. And at this point, I had no idea I was even being recruited for football, nothing. And I walk into his office and, hey, this is Coach Tommy Thigpen. He wants to talk to you about playing football at UNC. And I was like, huh? I was like, what are you talking about? And he had me stand up. He was like, hey, can you stand up for me? And he kind of sized me up. He was like, all right, we'll take him. And I was like, like, what'd you just say? He was like, we want to offer you a scholarship to play football.
Full ride right there.
Full ride, just for seeing how tall I was. He just wanted to I guess it was the last check mark. He wanted to see how tall I was. So, and then I called my dad, and I was like, hey, I called him during lunch at literally the 3rd period in lunch. He's like, hey, Dad, I just got offered a scholarship to play football at UNC. And he goes, the same reaction. He was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? He was like, well, what'd you say? And I said, yes. I committed right on the spot. No, nothing, no visit, anything. I just committed right on the spot, and there's your recruiting story.
So you got to be only one of a handful of D1 football quarterbacks to have one offer, right? Is that,
yeah. I get,
for football.
And once one school offers you, all the other ones come in, they start offering it. But I had more offers after that, but I had already committed to UNC at that point. I was like, and honestly, at that point, I was doing it. I was like, this is a much better school than all these other
exactly.
mid-level,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, D1 basketball programs I was thinking about going to. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to UNC and get a good education. And I get there, I'm like 5th on the depth chart and all that stuff, and start working your way up. And
But so you hit on something good there, though, and it stands out to me because the world we live in now with college recruiting, he made a commitment. You heard the story, right? He's there, you know, in school, in the coach's office, and he's like, I committed, calls his dad. Dad, yeah, I committed. You know, obviously there was probably some due diligence in between there,
for
you know,
sure.
I would
you know,
hope, but-
obviously, but then the offers start coming in, right? Nowadays, dude, everybody commits.
Oh, yeah.
You get commitments. It's all over Instagram.
A
and
commitment
social
is not a
media.
commitment.
There's no such thing as a commitment until you're in uniform on day one at you know, whatever the sport training camp is.
Yeah.
That's the commitment, and that, to me, that's awful.
And even that's not a commitment, because you
The
could
portal.
be negotiating with another school
Yeah.
while you're at. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no law in college football right now, or any college sports. It
Right.
has gotten out of hand.
Do you like that? I mean, I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but you
Um,
like what NIL's doing right now for college football?
I would have liked it if it came about 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
You know,
Could have
that'd
changed
be
things a little
that'd
bit
be a
for you.
little different, but there's good parts of it and there's ridiculous parts of it. I do believe that these players, like, they deserve to get money.
Yeah.
Now, how much money some of these guys are getting? Absolutely not. I don't think the backup quarterback for Northwestern should be making $1 million, but that's a whole nother story. But they do deserve to, you know, make money off their name, image, and likeness. There's a lot of people that take advantage of the situations. The people that construct these NIL contracts are making hand and fist over these kids.
Yeah, I
like,
think it's the adults in the room.
it's
that
the
are really
adults in the
ones.
room that are making 20% or whatever. There's no regulation in the NFL. You can only make 3% off these contracts. There is zero regulation to NIL contracts. You can put on there 50%, and if they sign it, that's what you're getting. And the aspect of kids not having any clue what taxes are, and they're spending all this money, their family's spending all this money.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you get a bill from Uncle Sam, and they have no clue what that even means. I didn't even have a clue what it meant when I went to the NFL, like how that even worked. The first paycheck I ever received was my signing bonus in the NFL. And I looked at it and I was like, hold on. No. That's my money. You can't take that much money from me. I had no idea what it actually meant. And that was just me all the way when I was 24 years old. Think about a kid that's 17 years old and getting an NIL contract in high school.
Yeah.
Like, they have no idea what that comes with, and they just need financial advisors.
Well, I mean, they need some financial literacy.
Yes,
is what I'm
absolutely.
Thinking. And what have you seen from your vantage point when it comes to the financial literacy of some of the players that you interact with now?
Yeah, you know, the NFL does a really good job. Each rookie class that comes in, you have all these different programs that are set in place of, you get your whole rookie class and you do all your workouts in the off season. And then, hey, rookies, you're going to this class today. You're going to that class today. And a lot of it is about financial literacy and just making sure you take care of your money and how the paychecks come in and all the things that go into it. A lot of the guys don't understand, like, you only get paid 8 times. Depends on the team. It's either 8 times a year or 16 times a year, depending on if they do it every 2 weeks or every game check. So, like, some of these guys don't realize that amount of money that's going into your account every week, that doesn't happen in the off season. So you can't spend it all then, or all the stuff that goes into, you know, the 401k and the retirement plans and all this stuff. I think I talked to you guys about it on the phone. I was in a rookie development program about financial literacy, and they had an older player come in the room, and he stood up on the stage. I'll never forget it because I still remember it to this day. He screamed at us, "Max out your 401k, max out." He said it like 10 times in a row, and it like stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because in the NFL, the 401k match program is ridiculous.
What is it? I have to know.
It is it's like 200 or something like that. It is insane.
Okay.
And if you don't, you're basically just wasting money, like tens and 20s of thousands of dollars every single time you have the opportunity. If you don't max it out, you're missing out on that money. But small messages like that, an older vet to jump in front of the room and just scream that at you. Now, he said a lot of other impactful things, but that one really snapped me into it. And, you know, that's just one example, but, you know, I've seen the other side of it where those guys just blow their money. You know, they just, you know, it depends, you know, because some of these guys, you know, all the different aspects and all the different backgrounds that some of these guys come from in any professional sport or any sport period,
Yeah.
you know, rich, poor, white, black, yellow, it doesn't matter. Like, all these guys come from different backgrounds, and just depending on how you're brought up and how financially literate you are or not. Like some of these guys go through some struggles and they lose all of their money because they think that next contract or the next payment's coming in, and NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah.
The average, I think it's 3.5 years is the average. And some of these guys are living like they're going to be playing for 20 years and getting $100 million contracts. And that is so rare. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys, they fall into financial hardships when they get out of the NFL. They fall into it while they're in the NFL. And then they really start pressing like, oh man, I got to get this next contract now because I'm fresh out of money.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was it Odell Beckham Jr., Jason? They had the Odell Beckham Jr. he got lit up on social media because he was trying to explain how a $100 million contract isn't what you think. And you're like, that's crazy. Now, maybe $100 million is an extreme example, but at the same time, you get $1 million contract. Oh boy, I'm a millionaire now.
Yep.
But I think that's a really unique perspective that professional athletes come away with is, $1 million contract is one thing, but it is not, a bag of $1 million handed to you and you're in the clear.
Yeah. Especially the money that gets reported. It's like during free agency, which just happened. It's like you see all these numbers. It's like, oh, he signed 4 years for $112 million. Yeah, but okay, what's the guaranteed money? And then what's the incentives? What's all the different addendums to the contract? And then there's a whole bunch of other things like if the playtime incentives, you catch 100 balls and you get $100,000 more, whatever it is. And then you got to get into the taxes and the fees and agency fees. And if you have a marketing team, marketing fees, if you have, a personal assistant, a chef, whatever it may be, a lot of these guys have a lot of things that help them out to become better football players, but they cost money.
Oh, I mean, Derrick Henry had the $1 million or $500,000 in his personal well-being.
Absolutely. You get massages and body work and all these chiropractors, all these different, there's a ton of things that, help you build to be this player and keep you at that same level. And if you're not, you have to invest in yourself. That's one of the things that I truly regret from playing. Like I was stubborn with my money. I went to LA Fitness in the off season. Like I didn't want a personal trainer. I didn't want to pay for somebody to tell me to go work out. I worked out the facility. Like
LA Fitness. Okay. Okay.
I went to LA Fitness this morning. I love LA Fitness. I still go.
Shout out LA Fitness.
Yeah, shout out LA Fitness. $54 a month. Best deal out there.
The pool there.
Very
Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. But I wish I would have invested more in myself. I probably could have squeaked out another contract because my body kind of deteriorated a little bit towards the end of my career. And if I would have been in better shape, or if I would have taken care of my body a little bit more, a little bit better eating, whatever it is, all the different avenues, I felt like I could have, played a little bit longer. And,
but you are now, man. You look great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You do look great. Caleb, invest in yourself. My goodness. How often are we telling financial advisors that they need to invest in themselves?
Every single day, right? Just, from a marketing standpoint, investing in their business, investing in, their lead funnels, investing in their clients, right? And so it is to peel off, a portion, the cream off the top, I guess you could say, and reinvest into your business, right? In football, your business is your body, right? And in financial advisory, your business is clients, right? And so getting your brand out there and making sure that you're in the forefront, you're in the inboxes. If you're not doing it, then ultimately someone else is, right? So, yeah.
I got to know. So you get a full ride scholarship to North Carolina to play football, but you're a basketball player. Back of your mind, you're thinking, I'm going to walk onto the basketball team.
All right. So this is a good story about this. I knew that I had no shot to play basketball.
No shot, really?
I mean, maybe walk on, whatever. But one of the cool things, this will be a testament to how awesome of a man Roy Williams is. I was a football recruit. I had already committed. They weren't like recruiting me. I was already there, but they knew I played basketball and all that stuff. So they took me over to the Smith Center and see all the basketball facilities and got to meet Roy Williams. And he literally took me on like an hour tour out of his day for a football recruit to show me around the facility and all that stuff. And I was like, this place is awesome. And, so there's a sliver of moment. I was like, man, maybe I should try out for the basketball team. But then I saw them practicing, and I was like, yeah, no shot.
Yeah.
No
So who
shot.
would have been? So this would have been what year now?
So that was 2006, 2007. That was, Tyler Hansborough,
Okay.
Wayne Ellington, Ty Lawson.
Yeah, they won a
Bobby
national
Fra-
title.
They
mixed
won
in there, right?
They won a national title in 2005 and 2009.
Okay.
So right before I got there, and when I was
Tough
there.
to walk onto a national title winning
Yeah,
basketball
they were
program.
they were the top of the top at that point. So yeah, I had no shot.
Have you met Michael Jordan?
I met him one time.
Okay, I need to hear everything about it.
It was at Sutton's Drugstore, which had like a little breakfast spot. It was on Franklin Street where we used to go all the time after workouts, like go get a good
on
meal.
campus.
It was on campus.
Okay.
And he walks in, and we're all like, I think we were freshmen or sophomore at the time. We're like, oh my God, it's Michael Jordan. And like, we're just all these football players. And he stopped, shook our hand, talked to us for a little while. It was pretty cool. We were all pretty starstruck. It was just one time though.
I mean, I feel like everything stops when he walks. The little bell chimes when he walks in the door. and
That's
everyone's
exactly
like,
how it happened. Like somebody was like, "Oh shit, that's Michael Jordan," and we all just stopped and just starstruck. It was pretty cool.
I have a friend who claims that he saw Michael Jordan at like a casino and sent us a picture of him being like, and it's like zoomed in from super far away. And it's like that could be any bald guy. That could.
Yeah.
Any other moments about seeing starstruck athletes? I mean, UNC is just this program that's just so I mean.
Yeah,
guys
there's
that
a lot
have
of guys that come through. I mean, Vince Carter's another one that comes to mind. I got to meet him briefly, and there's just a million. Really, Lawrence Taylor, good football player. He came and spoke to the team. UNC's got a lot of great alumni, and I got
Hakeem, man.
Yeah, Hakeem's another one.
Yeah,
He's a good one. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, but I would say it's probably Lawrence Taylor, Vince Carter, Michael Jordan. Probably.
What LT say to the team? We can bleep you if we need
that
to.
was no, it was a good motivational speech. He was a little late. It was a night game, so we were at the the hotel or whatever, and he comes in, still had his golf cleats on. He was fresh off the course, maybe a little bloodshot eyes. He had a good time.
Yeah.
So it was a good speech. I don't know if it made much sense, but it was a good speech.
Got the boys fired up.
Exactly.
For a night game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good one.
So that you mentioned that signing bonus contract. What's the first purchase?
I did buy a truck. At that point, I was still rocking my '98 Toyota Avalon from high school.
Was it a Dodge Ram?
What that I had in high school?
No, that you bought.
My first one was a GMC.
Oh, okay.
It was a GMC. But yeah, I just bought myself a nice used truck.
How quickly do you do it? Like you get that check and it's like, I have to go straight to the dealership and buy this right now.
Well, you get kind of like thrust in, like I got drafted and I just moved to Houston. At that point, you just like move to Houston, you get an apartment, I had a car, and it's kind of like you become an adult in an instant and you are on your own. So that kind of goes into what we're talking about. Like you don't really have a lot of people to look after you financially or just, emotionally, physically, socially, whatever it is. Like you're thrust out into the real world pretty quickly. And then on top of that, if you're irresponsible and you get tossed a whole bunch of money, you can become even more irresponsible, but
pretty easily.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the exact timeline, but I was like, you know what, got a little bit of extra cash. I think I need a new truck. So I did.
Well, I think what's unique about being a professional athlete and then a professional coach is having to move and having to relocate. And you have a family. It's not just TJ Yates ups and moves to Atlanta, moves to Tampa, moves to Houston. I mean, you've got other people that are part of this. So what's the adjustment been for when that happens?
It's tough. So my wife is the daughter of a former football coach, and he kind of bounced around a lot too. So she moved, probably 6 times before, elementary school, because her dad was kind of all over the ACC and SEC as being a coach. So she knew kind of what it entails. Mm-hmm. And before I went into coaching, I straight up asked her, I was like, are you okay with this? Because she knows the burden that's going to fall on her about how much time I'm away from the family and how much burden it puts on you when we got to just literally pack up and leave. And she was cool with it. She's been absolutely awesome throughout our entire journey together. And it is tough, especially when your kids start getting older.
Yeah.
My first big move was I was in Houston at the time. My two boys were 2 and 3. So like, they don't really know what's going on. They kind of have no idea. But then, fast forward, we were in, Atlanta for the past 5 years, which in this profession is a lifetime, staying in one spot, whether you're a really good coach or a really bad coach, you usually never stay in the same spot. I was talking to Moose earlier. I was like,
Yeah.
you literally just kind of changed the patch on your shoulder. Like all the coaches just kind of move around to different spots. But my boys are older and they've been here for a long time, and they're starting to, create relationships and have their friends and their friends groups and all that stuff. And, they become aware of what goes on. It's like, I'm not going to lie. It's tough when you pick up your boys from school and they're crying because some kid's like, oh, your dad got fired, you're going to move. And they're like, Dad, what's going on? So it's like that part can get you. And when you got to tell them that we're packing up and moving to Tampa, like there's some emotions that come with it. And, it's tough on them. It's tough on my wife. There's a lot of things tough on your other part of your family because, my parents live here, her parents live here. We got to move away from them. So there's a lot of things that go into it that people don't really realize from the outside. Like, and a lot of the things that like the media drives and like, oh, this coach should get fired. This coach should get fired. Like when they think of that, they do not think about all the other aspects that come along with it. And that's the part that really fires you up about some of these media people that just absolutely talk out of their, whats. I'm like, hey, do you realize the impact of what you're saying right now on Get Up or ESPN or whatever it is? Like the impact, like, yeah, a head coach gets fired. Got it. You don't realize that usually fires about 70 other people.
Yeah.
All the coaching staff, they bring in new trainers, equipment guys, media, marketing, no matter what. Like, it's not just the head coach that gets fired. It's an entire group of people and all their families. They got to just pick up and completely relocate. Now, I get it from other people's perspectives. We know what we sign up for. Yeah. Like, it's a tough business and it's a competitive business, one of the most competitive businesses in the world, but there is some struggles that come with it when you got to, pack up and move your whole family.
Well, we're all rooting for you. Not everyone in this room. One person in this room is rooting for you to do terribly 2 weeks out of the season because he's obviously a massive Falcons fan. You go to a division rival. You gotta. I gotta know. I mean, Gruden's a Tampa guy. Have you run into Gruden?
I have not had a chance to meet him yet. I heard he does come around to practice.
Can you go out of the way and get to meet him though?
Let me hear your snap count. All those So my offensive coordinator in college was a Gruden disciple. So all of his mannerisms are very similar. So I've got all of it from that perspective. But he is a Tampa legend, obviously, for winning the Super Bowl there. And I heard he comes around quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to get to meet that guy.
Yeah, I used to work in Tampa doing sports, and his son, Deuce, was
Deuce.
Deuce. I think he was a running back at, I can't remember the high school that he went to. This was back when I was there, but
yeah,
I mean, you see Deuce Gruden coming through the hole.
Yeah.
And obviously now he's the strength and conditioning coach or something.
He's like a competitive bodybuilder, I think. Too.
I've seen him.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Well, like I
said, he's short, but he's big.
Yeah. Well, we're pulling for you. We're nothing but the best for you when you go to Tampa. Sorry, Jason. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Caleb as well. Thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you for watching. We hope you picked up on something. We hope you pick up on some of those leadership traits and also investing in yourself. If there was one thing that TJ hit on, it was investing in yourself and investing in your practice. So we hope you picked up on something. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.